let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons draft season. The draft is just barely a little over a week away. Falcons fans gotta be getting excited because things are getting kind of interesting around the area that the Falcons are drafting. There's been a lot of shakeup. There's been a lot of people coming out saying they're open for business. Other teams saying that they're going to try to trade up, trade down. A lot of interesting stuff is happening right around the Falcons pick. And when interesting stuff happens around you as a team, that means some interesting players may potentially be within your reach. Let's get into this article talking about, the latest with the New England Patriots. And afterwards, we'll talk about how this directly affects the Falcons potentially. Let's get on into it. This is from Adam Schefter. Everyone knows him. It says Patriots Director of Scouting Elliott Wolf said the team is open for business to trade the number 3 pick in next week's draft, but would be comfortable staying put and selecting a quarterback from what he called a unique class. So what I'm seeing here, a lot of quarterbacks in this draft class. There's a lot of interesting moves to be made. Patriots trade, Patriots don't trade. Who knows what's going to happen, Nick? I want to hear your thoughts on what you think is going to happen. But Falcons fans, in the comment section below, this draft seemed to be very interesting. You've got a lot of talent on this roster. You've got a lot of hits over the last couple of years on some players that you have picked up. But we want to know in the comment section below, not about the hits, about the bust. Who's been the biggest Atlanta Falcons draft bust of all time? Let us know in the comment section below. But Nick, what are your thoughts on the latest possibilities for the Falcons?
Yeah, I think right now the door is wide open for the Atlanta Falcons to trade up potentially and get their ideal franchise future quarterback, right? And I'm not necessarily talking about with the Patriots, because the Patriots and Elliott Wolf saying they're open for business, and we did a story about this a couple of days ago talking about how we believe the Patriots are looking to trade back and they're not necessarily looking for, a supercharged King's ransom to do it, maybe a couple first-round picks. And if you look at a team like the Minnesota Vikings that seem to be the favorite to trade up and get their quarterback, there's been a lot of research that the Minnesota Vikings have really sort of narrowed down to J.J. McCarthy as their guy. Now, I understand it's speculation, but the reality is if the Patriots are open to trading back, the Vikings may now sit there and say, listen, we may not need to give up a lot to get McCarthy. He may fall to us at number 11 anyway. And that opens up the door for the Atlanta Falcons to say, hey, New England, the Vikings just backed out of the trade. We're interested in maybe Drake May from North Carolina or even Jane Daniels if Washington doesn't select him at number 3. If that happens, maybe the Falcons just don't give up a King's ransom. They move up and get their guy, Daniels or Drake May, their future quarterback, franchise quarterback at that spot. And here's the other option, too, is that the Falcons now have an opportunity to see what happens with that New England and Minnesota action. If Minnesota decides to trade up to number 3, then Atlanta can call the Los Angeles Chargers and say, hey, listen, I want to trade swap with you guys to get a quarterback at number 5, right? So there's a lot of options open for Atlanta right here. This is probably the best news the Falcons could have gotten for their selection at number 8 overall, because a couple weeks ago it was looking like the Vikings had the firepower, the top 3 picks, every one of those teams was going to get a quarterback. It looked like the Falcons, if they wanted to go quarterback, would be absolutely stuck with maybe the 5th best guy, which you're not going to take at number 8. But there's a real chance, a good chance, the Falcons could get their franchise guy at number 3 if they want to go that route. And here's the other beauty of it, right? If a team, let's say the Patriots decide not to trade out of the number 3 and they go quarterback, the Minnesota Vikings are now going to be scared to death of a team like the Raiders potentially moving up and picking a quarterback. So that means maybe a team like the Falcons could also trade back and get a maybe middle of the first round, later part of the first round, and get maybe a Michael Penix Jr. and then get a bunch of other draft capital assets as well. So this has just really opened the door for the Atlanta Falcons and Terry Fontenot. Either direction you want to go, whether they want to trade up and potentially go after and get the 3rd best quarterback in the draft, which I think would be a great move for Atlanta in terms of long-term planning if the opportunity was there, especially if it's Jaden Daniels. It also, I think, presents them the opportunity to trade back for a team like the Minnesota Vikings or whoever else who really sees it as an opportunity to pick up their desired quarterback inside the top 10. So this, again, it's this time of year, right, where you have to be reactive and see what the teams in front of you are doing. And this news involving the Patriots, very willing, open for business to trade out of the number 3 spot, gives the Falcons a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, Nick, and I think there's just so many opportunities that the Falcons we've seen stuff. We've talked about stuff. We've talked about how Kirk Cousins, we did the whole story about how it allows Atlanta to not have to rush and get their next quarterback. They have a couple of years under Kirk Cousins. They can start evaluating the quarterback position. They're able to go ahead and get the guy that they want to get. But it seems more and more every day, the more we hear, that they may be able to get him this year, way ahead of schedule, way sooner than they expected, which is not a problem. I think they can sit behind Kirk Cousins and learn a heck of a lot for a year or two, and then come in and, take the league by storm. But I just like that Atlanta has, put themselves in the mindset, we need to start evaluating quarterback talent. We can take some time and get our quarterback of the future, but they realize he may be here now. It may be time to go ahead and just go and get him, because it seems like this is a really good opportunity for us, that we could get someone very high level quarterback that we're probably not going to be good enough, or bad enough really, to draft as high as we are now or even higher in the coming years. So I think it's a unique opportunity for Atlanta, and I love how they're thinking about and considering all options available, because it just does seem like they have so much possibility right now.
Yeah, and especially when you look at, the best teams in football consistently have all followed the model the Falcons are following right now, where they got their veteran quarterback or had their veteran quarterback, and then when they found their quarterback of the future, they traded up and got him, right? The Kansas City Chiefs did that with Patrick Mahomes. The Buffalo Bills did that when they acquired and drafted Josh Allen. Of course, the Baltimore Ravens did that when they drafted and traded back into the first round a number of years ago to select Lamar Jackson, right? So we've talked about it a lot this offseason. The Falcons really are in a great position if they have identified their quarterback of the future. And we've noticed some reports that there are some inclinations that they potentially have, whether it's Daniels, whether it's Penix Jr. seems to be the other guy at the top of that list right now. But look, I think no matter where the Falcons go here, they're in just the perfect position, right? Because if they think at number 3, if their third quarterback that's available, if they want to get him, they can trade up with New England. New England's open for business. If they want to trade back and allow a team like the Vikings to jump up and get the fourth quarterback at number 8, if, let's say, the Falcons really like Penix Jr., they can do that as well. So the Atlanta Falcons right now, I mean, just it's crazy how fast this can change. Situations can evolve. But right now, Atlanta Falcons fans, you should be really excited, because you are literally in the perfect position. Whatever Terry Fontenot and company and Raheem Morris and company think the best quarterback is for this team, if they want to go that direction, they are in a great situation to get either of them, going either trading up or trading back.